So see here, I didn't use all my Quickset, did I? I still have some left. I can't use that for anything. It's going to dry. So I got some plastic down here on the ground. And every time you get done with one little section and you got some left in your pan, you're just going to have to clean it out, because that's going to dry in your pan. Hard as a rock. Even if you got little bits left in there, you don't want to leave any. Okay? I've got to mix up some after a few minutes, but I don't want to leave this in here because it will prevent me from getting the next bit out, from mixing it up properly. I might get some dry goobers in there, and the last thing I want is for that to get up on my project. Okay? So clean out your pan. And incidentally, hopefully you don't say, hey, this guy Joe, he probably doesn't know what he's doing. Look at that. He's using a plastic bucket, a plastic sheetrock pan. Well, I'm doing that because I'm letting you see that, hey, I guess if I don't want to spend a whole lot of money, maybe I should just get a plastic pan. I've seen Joe use it. It works. And yes, you can use one of those. It doesn't cost you as much. And then if you decide that you really like doing your own patches, get a stainless steel pan after that. The stainless steel are the best ones to use, but I use this one for the reasons explained. Hey, this is all you need when you're mixing up your mud. You've got your sheetrock pan, and I use a 3-inch knife. It makes it easier mixing it up rather than the 6 inches. The 6-inch knife is kind of hard to get in there without making a huge mess. I'll use this later for my next patches, my next go around. And I use just a little bottle of water, and I keep this water bottle with me. That way I fill it up. Then it's easier to pour. I've seen lots of guys that go up to the kitchen sink, they put a little bit of water in there, and then they try to mix it by hand right there at the kitchen sink, and the powder starts getting all over the place, and it's just not good. Plus, this way you can, if you need just a touch more water, you can put it in. This stuff mixes up as you mix it up. Here's the Quickset. It's in a bag form like this. And as you mix it up, you may think, oh man, I need to put a whole lot more water in there. And then all of a sudden you put a little bit more and it's too soupy. Then, you know, no biggie. All you got to do is pour a little bit more of that in there. And then that's fine. And usually I just cut out a little end like that. Then I can pour from that end. When I get all done, I can fold it up like that. And I'm ready for my next project. You can store that for many, many months in your garage, in a storage shed, or that kind of thing. Okay? Hey, if you want to see me mix up mud and all that kind of stuff, I got some videos on my channel for that. And you want to check all that out? Look at my channel and you'll find them. Here's my webbing tape. And after I get done, I just take this and fold it over a couple times. That way next time I'm ready for it, all I have to do is flip that up and I'll cut that little section off and go. Because even on small rolls, if you don't do that, then this gets lost in here, and sometimes you can't even find it. You're digging and digging. You'll see when you get a new roll, you'll be like, where is the end of it? My word, you won't want to have to keep fighting that every time you need to use this, do you? Ready for the next patch. Now before you get ready to paint up there, I'm still doing my sheetrock patches, but while I'm waiting, I'm going to check some stuff out. Remember I put the chalk line up here and snapped it on the ceiling? Now in this case I happen to have a green chalk line. I have no idea where that came from. Usually you're going to see blue chalk to fill those up. You could get red sometimes. If you mix red and blue together you get purple. But here is green. I want to get that off. And I got just a wet sponge up here. And I'm going to try to get most of that excess off. Last thing I want to do is leave it and then make the assumption that the paint is going to cover that, and then find out that this chalk for some reason bleeds through the paint or something, you know? Now, if your chalk line doesn't come off that easy, my word, the ceiling is dirty. I may have to take a sponge up here and wipe this whole ceiling down too before I paint it. I didn't realize I might have to do that because that ceiling has not seen the light of day for 30 years because I had a suspended grid ceiling in here. You see how dirty that is? My word. Probably have to get a big sponge up here or something and clean this right before I get ready to paint. Okay? That'll help the primer stick better and we'll just give an overall good appearance. You know, could I leave it that way and put primer over that? Yeah, I probably could, but if you don't put primer, you just put a coat of finish paint over that, you might have a problem moving forward. Okay, so just check your ceiling out and get ready to go. I'm still waiting for this to dry, as a matter of fact. And this is the first coat of Quickset that I got up here. Now, you can see around the edges it's getting lighter. That's because it's going to look like that when it dries. And all these small little patches that I've already done, they've already dried because there's hardly anything up there. But I don't want to put the next coat on here just yet. Don't be too greedy and think you're going to put the next coat on here before this one dries all the way. Because you want this, at least the outer surface, to be hard, so when you put the second coat on there, it's going to smooth over that. You put it on too soon, and if this is still slightly wet, it's going to start sticking and it's going to start pulling as you put the second coat on there. You're not going to get a nice smooth surface. The thing with the Quickset, you're not going to be able to cover everything with one coat the first time and get a perfect patch. It's just not going to work that way. There's only so much you can do with it. That's why on the first coat I just put it up there like I showed you. I let it dry. The second coat is going to get nice and smooth. It's going to get smoother. And then if I have to put a little bit more on there, I can, and do a tight skim with the Quickset before I transfer to the all-purpose joint compound. You remember, we got to use all-purpose joint compound after we do the Quickset, or your patch is just not going to come out right and it's not going to paint up nice and clean. You've got to have that all-purpose joint compound as your last coat. Remember that. When to know when it's time to go over this patch for the second time. You can feel on that, and I'm just putting my fingernail, hitting it, and it's going right into the mud, so I know it's not ready yet. As much as I'd like to put the second coat on here, I just can't do it yet. And like I said, I used 40 Quickset 40, and that was the number on the bag. You can get it all the way down to 5-minute mud. Normally they have 5-minute, 15-minute. I've seen 20, 30, 40, 45, 60, even as much as 90-minute mud. Okay, so I'm using 40, and that's just the stuff that I happen to have. And usually I'll do more patches than this. You see, that's not much for the patches, right? Didn't really take me very long to kind of get those patches ready. And I'm just not set to start buying 4 or 5 different types of mud. I'll just wait it out. It's only going to take a few minutes. 40-minute mud I could probably cover in about 20 minutes. It's only been about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your weather conditions too. If it's really cold, it might take a little bit longer. Hotter it is, probably the shorter the time frame. Okay? Just be patient. You'll get her.